Martell Holt finally spoke, and when she did, it did not feel like reality television anymore. It felt personal. It felt heavy. She did not come forward to create drama. She did not speak to trend online. She spoke because she had reached a point where silence no longer felt right. And when she addressed the situation between her son, Martell Holt, Melody Shari, and Arionne Curry, her words carried the weight of a mother who had watched everything unfold from the front row. She made it clear that what happened was not just a mistake that passed with time. It was a series of choices. And those choices broke trust, divided a family, and changed the direction of many lives. When she spoke about Melody, there was respect in her tone. It was not forced. It sounded natural. She talked about Melody as someone who worked hard, who stood strong for her children, and who gave her all to her marriage. She did not act like Melody was perfect, but she made it clear that Melody showed up for her family in ways that mattered. Martell had seen the effort. She had seen Melody build, plan, and push forward, even when things were not easy. She had watched her support Martell, stand beside him in business, and help create the life they once showed the world. And that is why her defense of Melody did not sound fake. It sounded earned. She was not defending her because of hate towards someone else. She was defending her because she knew what Melody had poured into that family. But when the topic turned to Arionne, the energy shifted. Martell did not scream. She did not throw insults. She did not attack in a wild way. Instead, she spoke calmly. And sometimes calm words hit harder than loud ones. She spoke about responsibility. She spoke about how secret relationships do not just hurt two people, they hurt children, they hurt families, they hurt futures. She made it clear that this was not about jealousy. It was not about competition between women. It was about choices that damaged something that once had stability. And what made her words powerful was that she did not only speak about Arionne, she also spoke about her own son. She said clearly that Martell was not forced into anything. He made decisions. He chose actions. He walked down a path again and again, even after seeing the damage. That honesty changed everything. Many people expected her to protect her son without question. That is what many mothers do. But Martell showed that love does not always look like protection. Sometimes love looks like truth. She admitted that watching her son repeat the same behavior was painful. She admitted that defending him became harder when the same pattern kept appearing. She talked about how hard it is to see your child make choices that break their own home. She said that at some point you have to stop covering mistakes and start calling them what they are. That moment felt bigger than reality TV. It felt like a real mother speaking from real disappointment. She also spoke about legacy. That word stayed with many viewers. Legacy is not about fame. It is not about money. It is about what your children remember. It is about how your name is carried forward. She said that actions echo. They do not stay in the moment. Children grow up and remember what they saw. They remember tension. They remember pain. They remember how adults handled conflict. When she said that, it became clear that her message was not just for Arionne or Martell. It was for anyone watching. She was saying that broken trust does not stay private. It spreads. It shapes how children understand love. It shapes how families function. And once that damage is done, it takes years to rebuild. For Melody, hearing those words must have felt complex. On one hand, there was validation. A woman who once stood as her mother-in-law was now openly acknowledging her effort and her strength. On the other hand, it was also painful because it confirmed that many people saw the work she had done, even while her marriage was falling apart. Melody has chosen a different path now. She is focused on her children. She is focused on business. She is building a stable life. Instead of staying in public fights, she has stepped into growth. And Martell noticed that. You could hear it in her voice. There was a quiet respect there, almost like she realized that Melody walking away was not weakness, it was strength. Meanwhile, Martell's situation looks very different. Public support has shifted over time. At first, some people defended him. They said people make mistakes. They said relationships are complicated. But when mistakes repeat, people start asking harder questions. Martell herself seemed to be asking those questions. She spoke about being tired of excuses, tired of watching the same cycle repeat. That kind of tired is deep. It is not loud, it is heavy. It comes from loving someone and wanting better for them, but watching them ignore every chance to change. Her words toward Arionne were firm. She spoke about how stepping into someone else's marriage does not come without impact. She said that every choice has a ripple effect. Even if two adults agree to something, the consequences reach children and extended family. She was not cruel, but she was clear. And clarity can feel brutal when it exposes truth. Many viewers felt shocked because they did not expect her to be this direct. They expected a soft defense of her son. Instead, they got honesty. She did not remove Martell from blame. She placed responsibility exactly where it belonged. That made her message stronger. She said that at some point, growth has to happen. Apologies mean nothing if behavior stays the same. Promises mean nothing if actions repeat. That statement alone felt like it carried years of frustration. This situation also shows how reality TV can blur the line between entertainment and real life. Viewers see episodes, they see arguments, they see scenes edited for drama, but behind those scenes are real families dealing with real pain. Marlene reminded everyone of that. She spoke like someone who had watched private tears that cameras never showed. She spoke like someone who had comforted grandchildren. She spoke like someone who had seen both sides and still chose to speak truth instead of comfort. The impact of her speech spread quickly. Social media reacted. Some praised her for being brave, others felt she should have stayed silent. But the strongest reaction came from those who felt her words reflected their own family struggles. Many people know what it feels like to watch someone you love make harmful choices. At the center of it all are the children. Marlene returned to that point more than once. She said children deserve stability. They deserve peace. They deserve adults who think beyond the moment. That message cut through everything else. Melody's current focus shows that she heard that message long ago. She has been building quietly. She has been moving forward step by step. She has not made everything a public battle. That kind of discipline takes strength. Martell now faces a choice. He can listen to his mother's words and grow, or he can ignore them and repeat history. Marlene made it clear that this might be the last time she speaks this openly. It felt like a warning wrapped in love. What makes this story powerful is not the fight. It is not the triangle. It is not the headlines. It is the lesson. Pride can destroy what took years to build. Ego can blind someone to the blessings in front of them. And accountability, when delayed, becomes heavier. Marlene's defense of Melody was not about picking sides. It was about acknowledging effort. It was about giving credit where it was due. And it was about saying that strength should be recognized, not ignored. Her challenge to Arionne was not about hate. It was about understanding impact. It was about recognizing that stepping into chaos does not create peace. It only deepens wounds. Her challenge to Martell was the most important. She reminded him that being charming is not the same as being responsible. Being loved by the public does not erase private damage. Real growth shows in action, not words. As the situation continues, one thing is clear. Marlene's speech will be remembered, not because it was loud, but because it was honest. Honest words last longer than dramatic ones. Families break, families heal, but healing only begins when truth is faced. Marlene chose truth. Melody chose growth. Now the question is whether Martell will choose change. Because in the end, this was never just about a scandal. It was about a mother who wanted better for her son. It was about a woman who rebuilt her life. It was about children who deserve stability. And it was about the reality that every action leaves a mark. Some marks fade, some become lessons, and some become warnings for anyone watching closely. As the days passed, the weight of what Martell Holt said did not fade. In fact, it grew stronger. People replayed her words. They broke down her tone. They discussed the meaning behind each sentence. And the more they listened, the clearer it became that this was not just frustration. It was years of built-up truth finally being released. For a long time, many believed she would always protect Martell Holt no matter what. That is what people expect from a mother. But what they saw instead was something deeper. They saw a parent who understood that protecting a child from consequences can sometimes harm them more than help them. Shielding someone from truth can delay their growth. She spoke as someone who had watched blessings slip away. She had seen the strong foundation that Martell and Melody Shari once built together. She had seen the teamwork, the business moves, the shared dreams, and she had also seen how quickly that foundation cracked once trust was broken. When she defended Melody, it was not exaggerated praise. It was simple acknowledgement. She recognized the effort Melody put into keeping the family stable. She recognized the sacrifices. She recognized that walking away was not easy. Sometimes leaving is harder than staying. And that strength deserved to be spoken out loud. At the same time, her comments about Arionne Curry made it clear that she believed the relationship brought instability into an already fragile situation. She did not frame Arionne as the only reason things fell apart. She made it clear that Martell made his own choices, but she also did not ignore the role Arionne played. What stood out most was her focus on impact instead of emotion. She did not focus on anger. She focused on results: broken trust, court issues, public embarrassment, divided family time. Those are real consequences, and those consequences do not disappear just because feelings are involved. The conversation slowly shifted from gossip to reflection. Many viewers started thinking about their own families, about times they watched someone they loved repeat harmful patterns, about moments when speaking up felt risky but necessary. Marlene's honesty felt like that moment. She also spoke about respect. Respect is not just about how you treat someone in public. It is about how you honor commitments when no one is watching. She suggested that respect had been lost somewhere along the way, and once respect fades, rebuilding becomes much harder. Meanwhile, Melody's quiet consistency continued to send a message. She did not need to respond loudly. Her progress spoke for her. Business growth, focus on her children, personal peace. That kind of steady rebuilding often takes more strength than confrontation. Some viewers began to notice that Melody's energy had changed over time. She appeared less reactive, more grounded, more certain about her direction. That shift likely did not happen overnight. It probably came from pain, reflection, and hard decisions. Marlene seemed to recognize that transformation. There was a tone of regret in her voice, almost like she realized too late how much Melody had carried. Sometimes appreciation comes after loss. Sometimes people only see the full value of someone once they are no longer there. For Martell, the public conversation is no longer simple. It is layered. It is no longer about one situation. It is about repeated choices.